Hello everyone, here Dr. Zahid Ansari, Professor Department of Computer Science, PA College of Engineering, Mangalore, India. In this video, I am going to discuss the deadlock in Java multithreading with the help of an example. What is deadlock? Multithreading and synchronization, they create the danger of deadlock. What is deadlock? Deadlock is a circular dependency on a pair of synchronized objects. Let's see an example. Let's say one thread enters the monitor on object X. When a thread enters the monitor, if the thread it executes a synchronized method of object X, then in that case it acquires the monitor of object S. Let's say another thread it enters the monitor on object Y. So it enters to the monitor of object Y by calling a synchronized method of object Y. Okay. Let's say the first thread it tries to call a synchronized method on object Y. So the first thread it has already occupied the monitor on object X and it is trying to access the monitor on object Y. The second thread tries to call a synchronized method on object X. So the second thread has already occupied the monitor of object Y and it is trying to access the monitor on object X. Right? So now there is a circular dependency over here. Right? Both have occupied one resource and they are waiting for the other resource which is the other thread is occupying. So both are waiting endlessly. So the result is the threads they wait forever and this is the condition of deadlock. This will demonstrate with the help of an example. Okay. So let's say we have two resource classes. Okay, class A and class B. Class A contains the foo method which takes an instance B of class B as a parameter. It pauses briefly before trying to call the class B's last method. Similarly, we have a class B that contains the bar method which takes an instance of class A as a parameter. It pauses briefly before trying to call A's last method. Okay. So what is there? We have class A which has two synchronized methods. One is method foo, okay, which takes an instance of class B, object of class B as a parameter. Okay. In this, what it does is, it tries to get the name of the current thread. Means the thread which has called the method foo, its name it tries to obtain over here. And then it prints that the thread it entered a.foo. After that it makes the thread sleep for 1 second. Okay. And then after getting up, right, it tries to get the access of the last method on B. It invokes the B dot last. Okay. So basically the thread when it enters the foo method in class A, right, and this method is synchronized method. So basically it acquires the monitor of the class A object over here. Okay. And when it is calling B dot last, in B the last is again the synchronized method. So it is trying to acquire the monitor of the class B object by calling last. Okay. So class A, it provides one method foo, and another method the class A provides, its name is last, in which we just print that inside A's dot last. Both are the synchronized method. Similarly, in class B, it has two synchronized methods. One is the method bar, okay, and another is the method last. In method last, we print inside base dot last. In method bar, which takes a class A object as a parameter. Here again, we try to get the name of the current thread over here, and we print that the thread name entered B dot bar. Okay. After that, we make the thread to sleep for 1 second, right? And when the thread gets up, then it tries to call the A's dot last. Okay. So whichever thread enters to the bar method, basically it will acquire the monitor on the class B object. Okay. And when it is trying to call A dot last, it is trying to acquire the monitor on the class A object over here. Okay. So now we come to the main class. We give name Deadlock, right? It implements runnable, so it is a thread class. Okay. In this Deadlock class, we create the instance of class A and class B. So A is an instance of class A, B is an instance of class B. So we have the class A object A and class B object B over there. Both the objects, they are created over there. Okay. Now, there is a constructor of this class. Okay. In the main method of the Deadlock class, we create the instance of this Deadlock class, right? So when we create the instance of the Deadlock class, right, basically the control goes to the constructor. The constructor is invoked. Okay. In the main method, which thread is executing? We know that in the main method, the main thread is executing. So basically, main thread is trying to create an instance of the Deadlock class. So the main thread is invoking the constructor of the Deadlock class. So we are trying to set the name for it. Okay. So we are getting the current thread, and we are trying to set the name to main thread. Okay, because main thread will invoke this. Okay. After that, the main thread, it creates another thread. Other thread is a child thread. We give the name to it as racing thread. Okay. So it creates an instance of the Java thread class. Okay. It passes this reference to it and gives the name as racing thread. Then after that, it starts this racing thread. So the child thread is started. And we know that at the start method, basically it invokes the run method. So which code the child thread or the racing thread will invoke? It will invoke the code which is there in the run method. Okay. So in the run method, basically the object B's bar method is called. Okay. And it takes as a parameter the object of class A. So basically this racing thread, right, when it invokes B dot bar, basically it acquires the monitor on the B, right? And then here the main thread, after starting the racing thread, the main thread, it calls the method foo on object A. Okay, on object A. So now both the threads are running. The main thread entered A dot foo, and the racing thread, it entered B dot bar, right? Since the main thread, it entered A dot foo, it acquired the monitor of this A, and the racing thread, it entered B dot bar, it acquired the monitor of B, right? Now you see inside A dot foo what happens. Inside A dot foo, I am going back to the class A. So inside A dot foo, right? Inside a.foo, the main thread, it has entered to a.foo, then it slept for 1 second, and so this way the main thread has acquired the monitor on object A, and then it is trying to call b.last. So it is trying to acquire the monitor on object B, right? But we know that the child thread is already acquired the monitor of the object B. Okay. Similarly, what happens with the racing thread? Okay. So the racing thread, right? It called b.bar. So it entered b.bar. Here we got its a name. We printed that the racing thread, it entered b.bar. It slept for 1 second, and then after that the racing thread, it is calling a.last. So it is trying to acquire the monitor on object A. But we know that the object A's monitor is occupied by the main thread, right? So the racing thread, it acquires the monitor on object B, and it is trying to access the monitor on object A. While the main thread, it has acquired the monitor on object A, and it is trying to acquire the monitor on object B, right? So it is a circular dependency, right? That results in the deadlock. Okay, this will we'll run this in NetBeans and see the result. Okay, so we go to NetBeans. Okay, so here is our class, right? We declare class A, we declare the class B, we declare our deadlock class. Okay, so both the main thread, right? The main thread, it creates the racing thread. It starts the racing thread, and the main thread calls a.foo, right? While the racing thread, it calls b.bar, right? And inside a.foo, it is trying to call b.last, and inside b.bar, it is trying to call a.last, right? So there is a circular dependency. Okay, so if we run this, yeah, then what happens? So I am running this. See, a racing thread, it entered b.bar, and main thread entered a.foo, right? So racing thread, it acquired the monitor of object of class B. Main thread, it acquired monitor on object of class A, right? Then main thread is trying to call b.last. Okay, so it is trying to access the monitor on class B, which is held by the racing thread. Similarly, racing thread, it is trying to acquire the monitor on class A, which is held by the main thread. So there is a circular dependency, right? So they are in infinite loop, right? So see, both the threads, they are like they are waiting for each other, right? So this is the deadlock scenario over here. Okay, so this finishes the demonstration of the deadlock situation in Java multithreading. Thank you.